for those of you who don't know, I use Locs as a protective style. Moisturized family, welcome back to the channel. I am so happy to be here today, and I'm really excited because we are, well, continuing, because as you can see, I've already started. I am taking down these Locs. Yes! For those of you who don't know, I use Locs as a protective style. So what I've been doing since 2017 basically is I've been wearing Locs for a period of time, usually somewhere between 6 to 9 months. And this is the conditioner that I'm using. I also have this one on hand just in case. I don't know how well it will work to provide slip for me to undo these locks. I don't know, but I'm thinking it should, right? I'm working with a tangle teaser and what used to be a rat tail edge comb, I guess, but it broke. So these are the tools that the tools and products I'm using. Let's just get into it and let's chat. I will start in the front so that I can actually show what I'm doing. These locks are not that old. It's somewhat matured. You can see that there's some budding here. The locks in the back are a lot more mature than the ones in the front, and I think this is because the hair texture at the top is a lot looser. The curls are a lot looser and they're more tightly coiled. They're more tightly coiled in the back. So I think that's the reason for why these, first of all, they locked like in about 2 months. I had them already looking like locks. Let me just quickly show you. I've got the pick part, I don't know what you would call this, of the edge comb. And I'm just going in and, you know, just very carefully pulling. And then sometimes when I meet resistance like here, I'll kind of put a bit of force behind it, but not a lot. Because you don't want, obviously I don't want to break the hair. I don't want to end up having to trim off so much that it kind of makes what I've gained in growth obsolete. If I meet a spot that's just very stubborn and a very tight knot and I can't get the hair loose, I'll just work like around the lock like this from different angles until I get it loose. Before I cut my hair, before I shaved it, I did kind of gradually cut. So the very first cut, I did it myself and it was a slightly tapered cut, but I did all that with a scissors. It was not professionally done or anything. So I ended up having to clean that up at the barber shop. And then this right here is what I look like. I really love this cut. I ended up also bleaching and dyeing it a sort of ginger orange kind of color. And then eventually, when it was time and I got, you know, bored and I felt like, you know, I got what I needed to get out of those hairstyles, I shaved it all the way off. So that was the very end of November. From there, I was just letting the hair grow out, do its thing. You know, I had the whole TWA period. And around that time, I decided that I wanted to lock my hair. No, I want to tell you guys this. My idea for lock inspo is like Ladine Clark, you know what I mean? That type of fullness and thickness. That's what I was hoping for. That's what I wanted. Not really what I got, because I've got, you know, I don't have the densest hair growth. My sisters got that, damn them. And yeah, my curl pattern, I guess, also has a part to play in that. So while I was free-forming, I kind of started to, it became more like a semi-freeform vibe, because I started to guide them the way that I wanted them to grow, the shape, the thickness, and all of that stuff. And yeah, still it wasn't really what I wanted. So then I decided, you know what, I'm just going to rock with these locks for a minute as a protective style. And I did that, remove them. At this point, I'm not sure exactly how many times between the big chop and now that I've had locks. I think maybe 3 or 4. By the time I took that first set of locks down, I had an afro. You know, it wasn't like in the TWA teeny weeny afro stage anymore. And that's when I realized, you know what, I might as well use locks for at least half a year every year just to grow my hair out. With the takedown process, it was so easy. I didn't even need, that first time, I didn't even need a trim when I took down the locks. So I was like, okay, and I just started to explore that, wearing locks as a protective style. And I just loved the results that I got every time I would do a takedown. Right now, it's gotten a bit dry, and I've managed to work, you know, some of the hair out of the lock. but it is still tangled. So that's when, at this point, I will go in with my tangle teaser and just detangle what I've gotten out so far. So when you're taking down locks, keep in mind that it's not necessarily knots that you're working on undoing, but sometimes, I don't know if I can show it here. Yeah, you see here where I'm pulling out right now, the hair is like a teardrop shape, you can see, right? And I'm getting in there with this thing and tugging, and I can't get it to release. So this isn't a knot, it's just that the end part of the hair is up inside of the lock, and so I have to work on releasing the hair, the strands around that, to get that part to release. And I'll just work on the lock, like I told you before, all the way around. So, you know, from the front, the sides, the back of the lock. Knots gather, they will gather along the shaft of the hair, like you are seeing here. And so ever so often when it becomes very thick with knots and I need more space to work with, I'll just do a bit of a detangle. Sometimes it's enough to just separate it like this and do like a light finger detangle, and sometimes I need to go in with the brush, the tangle teaser, and release some of those knots and tangles, because that makes it then easier to continue. All right, we're halfway through the lock, I would say, because the lock ends here. What I would do, because I already have very loose ends, loose roots, you can see that on all my locks. I kept it that way specifically because I knew I was going to take them down. What I always do is I would sometimes hold onto the lock and gently, now I'm being gentle. I know you can probably hear it going but don't worry, it's fine. My hair is fine. So I will do that just to loosen up the root, make the loose part here a bit more so I have less to do, if that makes sense. Yes, I just loosen up the roots as much as I can. I don't think I can do it more than this without causing damage, and that's like a few inches. So that's nice. That's a whole lot less for me to do. And now it looks like we're working on less than half of the lock now. Yeah, so these locks that I took down in the back, they were pretty easy process. And also all of those ones, I've pretty much done them in the shower. I do them while I'm taking a shower. I find that it's much easier to take the locks down while I have running water and, you know, heaps and heaps of conditioner. Maybe anywhere from 20 to 30 minutes is what it takes to remove one. Anyway, I decided to draw for reinforcements. This right here is a conditioner bar. This is the conditioner bar that I've been using throughout having locks. I've just been using this one mostly to undo the locks, but for the most part, this conditioner bar is what I've been using as conditioner. I'm getting tired. This would have been way easier if I was just doing it in the shower. Trust and believe. It's so much easier doing this with running water. It doesn't matter how much I saturate this with the spray bottle, it's just not the same effect as standing in the shower. Like, I would have already undone this lock. Here I've encountered a knot right here. It's a stubborn one. Yeah. It's taking too long, and the longer it takes, the more impatient I get, and the more impatient I get, the more careless I get, you know? Like, there's no length. Like, why I gotta do all this? And yeah, despite the fact that it takes hours to undo, it's worth it because I've worn it for 6 months now. Like, right now, I wish I was in Grenada and could have just go down Mount Camel Falls and like sit down on a stone under the waterfall and do this shit. Like, no water wasting, the water can go, it'll be refreshing. Separate. I feel like it's always best to separate by hand or like with my fingers before I go in with the brush. Because again, we're trying to retain length, so we want to preserve those ends. and cause as little damage as is humanly, physically possible. For me, the most satisfying part is like once you break this bit right here and like everything is loose, that clump of shed hair that gets released, to me that is so satisfying. It's so satisfying. I'm going to get close again as we move up and complete this last final. It's like an inch maybe or so. I wonder if I can. I wonder. Normally I will just do it from the top from here and try to open it downward. I never really go this way. It doesn't feel. No, I don't think I will. Honestly, if it's too difficult to break apart, then I'll just forget it. But no, I'm going to like be opening it up to the side in an attempt to start pulling the strands out of this last bit. This last bit of the lock, and just, you know, release this. As you can see, I've managed to open it up a little bit, and I can feel like there's a strand of hair that is going sort of around horizontally, and that's keeping these hairs locked together. So I'm going to try to release that strand. Yeah, so I'll be able to remove them like this. Okay, there's still something left there. Okay. Might I? No, be able to? Okay. Yeah, okay, there we go. And so I'll just, you know, grab these strands. You see me doing like all this because I'm trying to see the camera, and I'm also trying to like look up at my hair as it is in front of me, in front of my eyes. So yeah, now I'll just grab a few. I try to grab a few strands at a time and pull them. Just pull it apart to release these knots. Ooh. Yeah, and you can see now you're starting to see that length. And yeah, I know I'm tearing that apart, but honestly, with the way my hair looks once I take these down, it doesn't seem to be really causing any great deal of damage. So don't cry for me, Argentina. The truth is I never ripped you. I don't know. Yeah, I'm just trying to like work the knots by pulling the strands apart, away from each other. And sometimes the thing that's holding the hair together is not just shed hairs, but also little bits of lint product, you know, maybe shampoo or conditioner that didn't get rinsed out properly. And I did once or twice, like early on in the process when I had just done the finger coils, I did go in with this. That was at the point where they were still looking like coils, but starting to look like something else, and I was like, ugh, what are we doing? I feel like I need to do something to make it look, you know, better. When I work my fingers through it, it's easier to feel when I've hit a stop point. Like I probably should not tug anymore or separate anymore. Like here, this knot right here, we have these strands hanging on to other strands, like these shed hairs hanging on to the hairs that are still in fact intact. You see? So I mean, like sometimes I get entire curls. I think more sheds. But I want to, let's see. Let's go in with the brush and see how. Okay, yeah, it is all nicely detangled. Let's do a little length check. I remember in secondary school was a long time ago now, although it doesn't feel that way. But I remember back in secondary school growing my hair, knowing nothing at all about how to retain length, and we were just trying things. The one thing that we did get, me and my friends, when I say me, the one thing we did get right though was protective styling. We got the concept of concept. We got the concept of protective styling, you know, putting your hair in one hairstyle and leaving it like that for a long time to get that growth. But I think we were very much lacking knowledge on, you know, how to brush the hair, starting from the ends and working your way up, and doing so gently. Because I remember when brushing my hair, I just like rip that brush or comb straight through my hair, because you kind of had this mentality where we felt like properly detangled hair, when your hair is properly detangled, or the sign for your hair being properly detangled, is when you can take the brush from the root and pull it all the way, you know, out to the ends without having like any resistance whatsoever. That's when you have perfectly detangled your hair. However, as naturals, we know that it is possible, but probably more so when we have it drenched with water and conditioner, not so much when it's dried. I remember in secondary school then, when, you know, doing all these things and being on this journey to grow my hair. Okay, I'm not going to do this because I was on a journey to grow my hair, but it was just not very fruitful. And pulling this like section of my hair, because, you know, a very popular hair school style was putting hair maybe up in a bun, a high bun or a low bun, and then you have like two plaits like this or two twists like this in the front, you know. And I remember I would hold this hair like all the time, you know, looking to see if it had grown. Is it longer? You know, is it working? Is what I'm doing working? Blah, blah. And at that time, like for all those years, this to me, this was my hair being long, like stretched like this, pulled like this. It's like to my chin, the edge of my jaw. And I remember one day doing my hair and it was like hair. And I was ecstatic. I was like, oh my God, my hair is growing. Blah, blah, blah. And no, like, compared to today, this is where I am. This is where I am. You know, like my head, I probably fit another head, you know? And I was so obsessed about pulling the hair, and it like, this is where it reached to, and I was like, I've got long hair, please. I think I had like half a Subway sandwich before. No, I feel like I have the entire foot and some, probably. I'm not the one to do these length checks with where I actually measure it by inch or centimeter. I'm not that, you know, I'm not there. I'm also not the person, although I wish I was this person who would take proper before and after photos. At the very least, I wish that I did that. But I still hope that you've gotten an idea as to the journey, you know, as to where I started, how it went, and now here we are, how it's going. And by the time I'm done with this, well, how it's going, what comes after how it's going, how it went, how it's going, what it is. I don't know what you understand. All right, guys, what I'm going to do is I cannot sit here and use 40 minutes of my time to just undo one lock. I'm sorry, the rest. And I feel like I've babbled a lot throughout this video as well. So I feel like I've given you enough photos, enough information, enough unimportant stuff. So let me just show you, first of all, before I wrap this up, the amount of shed hair that I took from this lock. This is it. This is all of the shed hair that came out. Yeah, so I'm going to do this off camera and I will come back. Maybe I'll come back today. Probably not, because I have a good ways to go. But you've gotten the basic idea of, you know, how I undo these, and we've had enough chit chat, and I've showed you the products and the equipment and everything that I use. I've showed you the shedding, all of that. So anything else you're wondering, honestly, you have to just leave it down in the comment section below, and I will respond there if there's anything that you felt like I didn't cover. I do hope that I covered enough. And yeah, I'll be back and you'll see me with a head full of twists instead of this half-half situation. I am so excited. All right, okay. I'm coming back. Just now, I'm coming back. All right. I am finally finished. Okay, hold up. Let me just. No more locks in my hair. Oh, my hair, it feels so light. I can feel my scalp in a totally different way. I'm so happy. So today's Sunday. The last time I was on camera was Friday, so yesterday I didn't do anything at all, and I had about, I would say I did about 2/3 on Friday, and I did the final third today. I started off in the shower, but I came out of the shower about 1 hour and 40 minutes in, At which point I got out because the water was freezing cold, and I decided to finish off the last 4 out of the shower because I can't be under the cold water like that. And I was thinking, okay, let me do these 4. It would take me about an hour. That's enough time for the water to at least get piss warm. Like, at the very least, give me lukewarm. When I tell you the water was just as frigging cold after an hour. So yeah, I'm finally done. Listen, I've gotten length, and we're going to get into the whole length thing in a different video. Detangle, so, but it's giving like mid-back. It's giving mid-back grazing waist length, but we'll see when we do the whole flat iron, the silk press. We're gonna do a silk press. It's gonna be silky, baby. It's time for me to come out of the shower. I need to get out of the house. It's beautiful weather. Let me show you. Let me, because I have the, you see, it's beautiful weather, so I need to get out, and I need to get out. That's the whole point. Anyways, I'm stressed. Yeah, so that was it for today's video. We are done, and I want you to join me in the next video. We're going to do wash day, we're going to stretch, and we're going to do a silk press and a length check. Wow, it's a mouthful. Wow, wow. We're going to be doing a lot in the next video, but make sure you're here. I have to be here, so you have to be here too to keep me company. All right? Okay. Until the next video, take care of yourself. Bye bye. She's got her hair back.